Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to upgrade the runtime software image on your Cisco wireless LAN controller. Before I go into the process though, I'd like to say that you should definitely read the release notes on the Cisco website before you install any software. There are certain caveats and perhaps even bugs. I know that sounds a bit silly because why would Cisco release new software for there to be bugs in it? But it does happen. There are bugs within new software. It may even be that the new software release discontinues support for the AP model that you have. Another example is in the new 7.5 software, if you have a high availability setup, the new software you install may not always copy across to both controllers, so it leaves one with a new release and the other, and that's obviously not good in a high availability setup. Also, one other thing to mention is that there are two software platforms that run on the controller. I like to call them the board software and the runtime software. So the board software meaning like motherboard software, that runs the internal components and the system level processes. So runtime software is what you interact with. So what I'm interacting with here, this is obviously the software image makes this possible. This GUI possible, and all the networking processes that go on, you know, the wireless LANs, all the configuration you do here is to do with the runtime image. And the board level image is called the field recovery image version. So you can see here, so we've got the main software image, which is the runtime, and then you've got the field recovery image version. So onto the process of actually upgrading your controller. So first, what you're going to want to do is you will need to go to the Cisco website and obviously download the software that you want. You'll obviously need a valid support contract to do that. And while you're there, read the release notes. You're then going to want to open your TFTP server. I'm running TFTP 64. TFTPD 64 rather. Set your TFTP server up, make sure you've got the right root directory and you're using the right server interface. You're then going to want to, so depending on what you want to upgrade, the main software image or the field recovery image version, you're going to either want to come into the GUI or open up an SSH session. So you can actually upgrade the main software image from the GUI or SSH, or a terminal session, but the field recovery image actually requires you to open a terminal session. You can't do it from the GUI, or you weren't able to previously anyway. And I think that's still the case. So for this video, I'm just going to upgrade the main software image. So we could do that from the GUI, but I will show you from from a terminal session. Okay, so what you want to do once you've logged in, if you come over to commands, and you've got these options down the side. So download file means download file to controller. So download file from your workstation to the controller. A lot of people get confused about that. I don't know why it says it. It sort of says it there. Upload file obviously means upload file from. I can sort of see why it doesn't make sense. It means you'd probably click upload file to upload it to the controller. But that actually means upload file from controllers. If you wanted to back up the configuration or whatever, you can come here and back up the configuration. Blah blah blah. So we're concerned with download files for controller. So what you're going to do is enter your IP address of your workstation. Don't worry about them. You can leave them as it is. File path. If if it's not located in the subdirectory in your TFTP root, you can just leave that as a /. And then obviously we want the file name, which is, if I just go into my TFTP root, and I'm going to want to. I want that one, 7.5. So if I click that and then highlight all of that, you need the .aes as well. You can't just do the sort of file name. You need the extension on the end of it. So if I put that in there and just make sure that I've got network connection, yes. So that should go. So click download, and yes, we want to do that. Should say starting TFTP code transfer. And then what you'll get is a number of other things like writing to RTOS disk, upgrading BIOS or something like that. So we can see the process happening now in TFTP D64, and we can see that the file's being copied. So we'll just wait for that. So it's copied the files to the disk now, and you can see it going through different stages. So writing the RTOS to flash disk. It will write the ini file to disk, things like that. So I'm just going to quickly pause the video and let that process take its course, and then I'll come back when it's done. Okay, so the software has now been fully installed, and once it has, you'll get this message: file transfer successful. Reboot the controller for the update's complete. So that whole process probably takes about 5-6 minutes for it once it's copied to install. So what you'll need to do is obviously reboot. So it's important to note that in production environments, if you've got a software upgrade to do, you'll need to inform obviously your place of work that the wireless LAN controller will be going offline. And also the access points. Once the controller reboots and comes up again, the access points will then download the new software from the controller, and obviously they will then need to reboot as well. So the whole process can take sometimes up to about 30 minutes. Obviously, depending on how many access points you've got, it could take up to an hour. But I'm just going to reboot the wireless controller now. So I'm just going to pause the video again, and I'll be back. Okay, so the wireless controller is booted up now, and we can see that the software version has been upgraded to 7.5102. So what I'm going to show you now is how you can do the same thing but using SSH. And just to remind you, this is how you would upgrade also the field recovery image version, because you can't do it through the GUI. So I'm just going to log into the controller via terminal session via SSH. Okay, so the command for, let me just make this a little bit bigger. The command for transferring files to controller from the command line is transfer, would you believe it, download, and then there are a number of options, a number of parameters. So if we first fill out the server IP, which is of course the workstation IP, as we did in the GUI, so 192.168.4.7. Then we say the path, which is of course just / transfer download path. That. Then we're going to want to specify the file name, which was that, with the AES as well, the .aes. And then the data type. So transfer download data type, to tell you what type, and it's just code. So now we're ready to kick it off. And all that command is transfer download start. I'm not going to do it because obviously I've just upgraded the controller to the new software. But that is the process using SSH. Hope you found the video helpful and useful. Stay tuned for the next